Now, federal officials are hardening the perimeter around the White House this noon hour and promising that the inauguration in 2 weeks will be a peaceful transfer of power. This after a mob stormed the Capitol yesterday. Capitol Police shot and killed an Air Force veteran as she climbed through a broken window. 3 others died from medical emergencies. 14 police officers were hurt. At least 68 people were arrested, and police found 2 pipe bombs, one each, outside the Republican and Democratic committee offices. We've got a live picture right now of the Capitol, thankfully quiet right now after yesterday's chaos and violence. Deborah Alfarone on the ground with the latest today.
Sherman, the Capitol is much quieter today, but the cries outside for, number one, President Trump to condemn the violence, and number two, for President Trump to be removed from office even, are growing louder.
The FBI is asking for help finding those behind Wednesday's assault at the Capitol. The agency set up a website for people to upload photos and videos of rioters who smashed their way into the building.
The government did this to us. We were normal, good, law-abiding citizens, and you guys did this to us.
Some pro-Trump protesters breached the Senate chamber. One sat at a desk inside Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office, leaving a note saying, "We will not back down."
They don't get to steal it from us.
Police fired at a woman who tried to climb through a window. She later died.
Today, it's quiet here at the Capitol. 150 additional National Guard members are maintaining a perimeter around the complex, bringing the total to 300.
Congress was in the process of confirming President-elect Joe Biden's Electoral College win at the time of the riot.
Stay down!
Lawmakers took cover anywhere they could.
Shots are being fired inside the Capitol chamber.
New York Congressman Tom Suozzi captured the chaos on his cell phone.
I started to leave the chamber and started to hear pop, pop, pop.
In a statement, President Trump said there will be an orderly transition on January 20th, but Washington's mayor has extended a public emergency order through Inauguration Day because of concerns of more violence.
And Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has announced that he is going to suspend President Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts indefinitely and at least until after the inauguration. At the Capitol, Deborah Alfarone, 11 News.
And former Trump officials and supporters condemning the president over this. Former Attorney General William Barr saying, quote, "Orchestrating a mob to pressure Congress is inexcusable." And Trump officials quitting in protest, including the special envoy to Northern Ireland, Deputy National Security Advisor, Deputy Press Secretary, and the First Lady's Chief of Staff.